Where are you from?
My name is Matt. I'm from upstate New York, from Wappingers Falls.
What can you tell me about upstate?
It fucking sucks. That's why I'm down here now.
Yeah.
I moved down here in September, but I've been commuting every day for the past 2.5 years.
So what are your first impressions of the city?
I love it, man. It's the best city in the world. I've been coming here consistently since I was a kid. I always fell in love with the culture and just the energy of Manhattan, especially.
All right, now, what do you miss about upstate? I know it sounds like you don't like it, but what do you miss?
I do like it. I definitely, because we know when you're born somewhere, you take things for granted.
Yeah.
I definitely do miss maybe the lazy Sunday, because you don't get lazy Sundays here, at least in my field of work.
So what brings you to the city?
Real estate. I am an aspiring American real estate broker. I want to be on $1 million listing, $1 million beach house, all that. I really just want to make it, and I want to build my career here in Manhattan.
So you're dealing with like residential houses?
Yeah, I do residential, commercial, all across the 5 boroughs. I specialize in Manhattan. I'm with nicest International. My office is actually in Soho on Broadway.
What's your commission?
My commission split, it's 50-50 on some, but of course it depends of who I'm working with and the kind of deals that I do. So,
What kind of advice you got for people who want to get into real estate?
just go for it. You're gonna be told no a lot, and that's the beauty of the job, because for somebody who grew up in a very sheltered place upstate, where people would more often than not tell you yes, or just kind of go with the flow, you're definitely gonna get the raw New York feel here. So I would just advise you to just don't take anything personal, just kind of roll with the punches and learn and see what you can take from each experience.
Ain't you got to get like a license or something for that?
Yeah, you got to get a license. You have a 75-hour course online that I took. You really don't use anything in the course. You just got to click through it, and then you go take a test downtown, and the next thing you know, you can sell land.
Yeah. All right, now, do you want to do dating questions or general questions?
I'll do anything.
Did you do dating questions last time?
I think I did. No, I don't. I think we got more like
You got carried away with the
wrapped
trade
up
school
with,
and the
like,
hipster.
time travel and shit. Yeah. Into some deep stuff.
But I'll do anything.
You want to do the dating questions?
Sure.
All right. I'll do you next then. First impressions are important, I think.
First impressions on what?
Yeah, I'm dating.
I'm dating.
Wait, let me ask you this. All right, let's say you ask a girl out, right?
Okay.
She turns you down.
Okay.
You see her again 2 months later. Do you try again or you give up?
Maybe I won't try again. If we left off on friendly terms, I'll be like, what's up? But my whole job is getting told no, right? So I'm really good with rejection, right? So I think, maybe in 2 months if I'm looking a little better, sure. Like, I'll definitely go for it. But for the most part, I'll be like, hey, what's up? But I'll probably just keep on going by.
How important is the way you dress when you're picking up women?
100, it's everything. First impressions are everything, because it could very well be your last. So I always want to dress to impress. I have to dress for work anyway, but if I didn't have to dress up, I would still dress like this because it makes me confident.
So you see a difference though?
Yeah.
When you dress badly and when you dress well?
Of course. If I'm in sweatpants and a hoodie, I'm less likely to go and be as confident, or just walk in there and feel like I am who I am,
Just look at the difference in dress between me and him. There's a couple like layers of fancy there.
Yeah, but you're not out here trying to pick up women though. Are you?
I wouldn't say no to it.
You're open to it though, right?
Of course. Wait.
Okay, now, what are your thoughts on men approaching women in public spaces like this? Because there's a lot of dudes, they come around here just to meet women.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's just life, I guess. Personally, I don't really necessarily come here for that, just because I really just come here to hang out with my friends or just kind of relax. But I guess it's fine as long as they're not being fucking creeps, Like, if you're going up there and you see like somebody who's blatantly uncomfortable, I would hope that you would kind of take the hint and just kind of move on and go to the next person, or maybe just chill out.
All right, what are your thoughts on online dating?
I think it's cool. I haven't ever had a serious relationship off online dating.
But what are some advantages and disadvantages?
Advantages, there's totally the icebreaker, right? Because it's like when you go up to somebody, it's not necessarily going to be a hit, right? But at least when you match with somebody, you're like, all right, they think I'm decent looking enough to swipe right on me. So I guess it gives you a little extra confidence and feeling of security.
All right, now, do you usually meet women through people you know or independently?
I would say it's a mix of both. Personally, now that I'm down here in the city, I'm mainly working with a lot of people, right? So I would say I meet them more through mutual friends, and then occasionally I'll meet somebody on the street, or I'll go up and be like, hey, how you doing? But more so friends with friends.
What are you looking for in a woman?
What am I looking for? Somebody intellectually on my same intellectual level. Somebody that has ambitions and goals and that really has a plan and goal for their life. Because I'm very structured and I'm very goal oriented. So I would like to be with somebody who shares my values.
How long should a guy wait before he calls a woman once he gets her number?
I maybe I don't know if it's just a real estate agent, but I call right away. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe like the next day or two. I don't know. But I just say what's up. You know, because you got to think. You meet a lot of people in New York City. So who knows how many other people have that same number and that will get in there before you. And then if you actually really like this girl, she could very well be interested in somebody else by that time.
All right, now let's say you're checking out a woman from across this park, right? What kind of signals are you looking for to indicate that it's okay to approach her?
Maybe a smile, right? Number one, friendly, I guess. That's the number one thing. If somebody's looking at you too, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with a mask.
Some motherfuckers call my name. I've never seen them in my life.
You know this guy too?
I don't know. I know him now.
Well, I like the way you dress, man.
All right, now, what are some signals to indicate that you should not approach her?
Definitely, if she's working out, that's definitely number one. That you never want to go up to a girl when she's working out. I feel like it's just not a cool thing to do. And if they're maybe, especially here where you have a lot of students, if they're doing homework, I feel like they're going to be more inclined to kind of turn you down and be like, hey, like, I have to focus. And if you can just kind of read their body language is everything, right? So if you see somebody who's kind of like really into what they're doing, or if you kind of look at them and throw a feeler out there, like a smile or something, and they just kind of like glance and go back down, then you know, maybe don't go for it.
How long does it take for you to like a woman? Once you meet her?
You know, like, I mean, I'm pretty right off the bat. If I like you, I like you. Because, I mean, more often than not, if I don't like somebody in the first initial contact, I really don't think I would feel inclined to go out with them again. But then again, I know what I'm looking for, so that can help a lot too.
Why do women go for bad boys?
I think because they're more fun, right? Like, you know, I mean, you're definitely gonna have more fun with somebody going on a roof deck or like getting drunk in the park at 3 in the morning than somebody who's in bed at like 10 or 11 o'clock, like myself, and is up at 5 in the morning. You know.
Let's say you meet a woman. You just want to be friends with her. How do you set that up? And you don't want to be romantically involved with her.
So how do you set the boundaries for that?
Huh?
Like the boundaries for that?
How do you do that without sounding weird?
See, that's a
Let's
good
say you meet a
question.
woman, you just want to chill with her like she's one of the guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to lead her on. How do you do that without being weird?
I mean-
Because have you had that happen to you?
Personally, no, I haven't had that happen yet. But I feel like there's a pretty good blend of how relationships go on. I mean, obviously, maybe if we go out to eat, I'll be like, I think the number one thing is splitting the bill, right? That's how you kind of know it's on a friend basis, because more often than not, I mean, especially at least with me, if I'm interested in somebody, I'll cover wherever we go to eat, or you know, I'll throw friendlier gestures. So I guess just kind of treat them like the bros, like, you know what I mean. If I'm gonna get food with my buddy, you know, we're gonna split the bill. We're gonna just hang out. Like I'm just gonna do the same things I do with my other friends.
What is a good place to bring a date?
Good place for a date. I mean, it really depends on who you're taking out, right? Because if you're taking out a girl from Park Avenue, you're gonna have to go somewhere nice, right? But if you're just taking out a college girl, they're a little bit cooler, right? You can go get a slice of pizza. You can go to coffee shops around here. It's definitely really good. And also know if she eats meat or not. It's a really big thing. Most awkward thing is taking a girl to a steakhouse when she doesn't eat meat. That's happening.
Can opposites attract? Let's say you like to drink, your woman doesn't. Can that work?
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit different than opposites attract, I would say. Like, but I guess, yeah, it could work because I'm not actively drinking all the time, right? Or at least I would say if somebody was an active drinker and then somebody wasn't, I've seen relationships where that does work. I mean, there's always going to be a little fine line where it may not work out ideally how you want it to, but it could definitely work.
All right, now what are your strengths and weaknesses?
My strengths, I'm very confident. I'm a people person. I'm really good with directions. It's a weird trait, but I'm super directions, never get lost. I guess maybe my weaknesses, I can be maybe a little shy at first interactions if it's somebody that I'm attracted to. I may hold back a little bit just because you know, my biggest fear is maybe not want to make somebody uncomfortable, so I may hold back to a certain extent. But aside from that, I would like to say that I work on my weaknesses pretty consistently, so I would say that really is my only one that can come to my top of my head.
All right, now is Facebook still relevant?
I use it for work, but aside from that, no, not really. We're more of Instagram. Snapchat's a big one. So,
Can you do a New York accent?
can I do a New York accent? I mean, you want what are we talking? We talking Brooklyn? Like, Brooklyn's the only one I can think of, right? You want? I don't know. Maybe. Like, what's going on, Toots? I don't know. Probably not.
All right, if you could redo any part of your life, what would it be?
I wouldn't redo any part.
You don't want to redo anything?
No.
If you could time travel, what year would you go to?
I would go to 1989.
Why?
It was just a great time in New York City when everything was going on. It was the city. It was the real turning point of New York, right? The towers were still up. We're living in a pre 9/11 world at that time. Everything was just different, and I feel like since I was born in 2001, right? I'm 19. I was born just a month before the towers went down, so I was born in a whole new world. So I would like to experience a real New York day in 1989 when I feel New York culture was just kind of shifting from out of the 80s into the new 90s.
If you were not in New York City, where would you be?
It's New York or nowhere.
Nowhere?
There's
You
nowhere
would go
else.
to like a Boston or Philadelphia, Miami?
Hell no.
No?
New York or nowhere. There's nowhere else that compares to this city.
All right, where were you coming from before you came to this park?
I'm coming from my office in Soho over on Broadway, so not too far.
Where you go once you leave here?
Depending on where the night takes me, may go out with my buddy Nick over here, may get something to eat, something to drink, but I'll be around. I don't think I'll be going home until a little bit later tonight.
If you had a trust fund, would you still work?
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of places have you traveled to? States, countries?
States, I haven't traveled too much yet actually. I've been to Florida, New Jersey, Connecticut, the tri-state of course. I've been to Ecuador, that's where my family's from, so I've been to Ecuador a few times. And then I've been to the Dominican Republic, but aside from that, I definitely want to travel more. But given the current global situation, that's not really in the picture right now.
You're the third guy from Ecuador on my channel.
Oh yeah? Yeah, there's a lot of us.
All right, now, what kind of places do you want to travel to in the future?
Los Angeles is definitely number one on the list. Spain, Eastern Europe, just some places that I haven't been to before, which is almost everywhere. So Europe definitely, Paris, Barcelona, and then Venice.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself still living here in New York City. Hopefully, well, I like to believe that I'd be on at least one reality TV show for real estate. Definitely broken the $50 million sales mark at that point. That's definitely the goal. 5 years.
What were you doing during the lockdown?
I never stopped working actually. I was living upstate during the lockdown and I was driving down in my car every single day and showing apartments through FaceTime and just hanging out with my dogs, I guess. But aside from that, I never really stopped working, so I just stopped hanging out with people. That was really it.
Well, that was allowed during the lockdown? I mean, March and April.
Yeah, March and April.
You were showing houses?
I was showing houses through FaceTime.
Oh,
It was just me and I was showing
What was that
apartments.
like?
It fucking sucked, man. I think I closed like one rental deal in like Astoria, Queens, and that was it. Because everything was up in the air. Nobody really knew what was happening next, so it wasn't ideal. And I was driving down here 2 hours every day and just kind of getting nothing. It was dry. I had my unemployment coming in at that time, but still, it was definitely a point in my life that I wouldn't go back to.
How has real estate prices changed in this past year?
That's a great question. So I'm gonna tell you what, for the sales market, no fucking difference. Okay, you are seeing it's a seller's market right now because everything's going like that. You're seeing slight discounts, but not much. Rentals is a whole different ballgame. You're looking at the East Village here for a 3-bedroom last year, looking at $4,000 plus. This year, in the summertime, you might be able to snag a 3-bedroom for anywhere in the $2,500 to $2,800 price range. So now it's a different story with the vaccines coming out, indoor dining's at 50% next week. And just everybody's coming back. I have a lot of clients from Florida that I've shown this week, so that's how you know that the market is recovering, because people who lived here went to Florida to escape this, and now that they're coming back, you're gonna see rents go up drastically.
So an apartment that was $1 million a year ago would still be $1 million now.
It will still be $1 million.
So it's not going down.
No, sales no.
Well, the rentals are.
Rentals incredibly good.
So would you say it's bad for landlords right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's recovering for them. The market's correcting, so it's getting better for them. But for a really long time, you had landlords cutting deals that you would never even imagine in New York City. But it's beautiful because you had a lot of young entrepreneurs come into the city and snag great commercial spots that before were just unimaginable or unfathomable to have. So it's definitely a time for new creators and inventors and entrepreneurs to come into the city and kind of pursue what before seemed so far is now finally within reach.
What's the situation right now with evictions?
With evictions, there's I think eviction laws that you cannot evict at all. So evictions, you don't have to worry about that. There's no evictions going on right now.
No evictions going on right now?
Still no.
Wouldn't that be bad for landlords though?
Absolutely, it's terrible for landlords. I mean, because you're going to have a lot of people that, especially international students or international people that were here that their visas were extended, they don't give a fuck about their credit. So you're gonna ride it out and you're gonna get as much free rent as possible.
All right, now what kind of questions would you ask if you were doing an interview?
If I was an interview, definitely. This is a good question. You know, I've always thought about doing interviews. Just you know, what your passions are and how was your first time in New York City, if you remember. If you were not born and raised here, if you remember your first time coming to Manhattan, that's definitely a question I would ask. Because I feel like everybody remembers their first trip to New York City, or even asking about somebody's, if they have a romantic interest, asking how they met them. That's always a good question. That's always a nice wholesome story. And then, you know, if they face any addictions or whatnot, because you never know what anybody's going on with. Sometimes it feels good to just tell somebody what you're going through without having to directly tell them.
Do you make videos?
Do I make videos? I've made a few. I put some on YouTube. Nothing crazy. Just kind of a day in the life.
What sites do you use?
I use YouTube. I'll do a lot of Snapchat stories and Instagram stories, just kind of where I'm at in the day, what I'm showing.
If I gave you 3 wishes, what would they be?
3 wishes, definitely number 1, a healthy life until I pass away. Number 2, definitely to achieve my deepest desires, my deepest dreams. And number 3, for my mother to be with me wherever I go.
Do you have any special talent?
Yeah, I can sell anything.
How did y'all become friends?
I met him here actually. I met Nick here with my buddy Tyler, and it was a fucking cold night. I think me and my buddy came here just to kind of like, you know, hang out with some girls and just kind of see what was going on that night in the park. And we met Nick and his buddy.
This is my boy Nick.
And then so ever since then I was like, hey, what's going on, man? And then we've kind of been in touch. I haven't seen him since November actually, so it's the first time I'm seeing him in a while.
Have you had any game changers in your life? Anything that would make you want to change the way you live your life? Something happened to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, believe it or not, I used to be 300 pounds 2 years ago when I first started coming out of New York City. So once I joined a gym like Equinox and I just started eating healthy, that was definitely a game changer. I could never go back to just living the same unhealthy lifestyle I was before.
You come here often?
Do I come to the park often? I come here a couple times a week sometimes.
What's the strangest thing you've seen or heard right here in this park?
Dude, this was back in the summer, right? There was like some naked guy living in that circle, and like he was just laying down. And I remember he had like a little basket on like his crotch, and the cops were just kind of like, "Yo, man, like, you gotta get the fuck out." And he was just chilling, free balling, like hanging out.
All right, now, can you say something in Spanish?
Claro que sí, yo hablo español.
Can you do any impersonation?
You know what? No, I do not.
Nature versus nurture, what's more important?
Nurture.
What's your biggest accomplishment in life?
Definitely, currently joining Nest Seekers International at 19. I'm the youngest person working at the company.
What's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for you?
I would say my mother definitely. I can't even put one single thing, but my mom has done everything for me. You know, there's every nice thing in the world was always done by her. So I can't even I can't even think of one specific thing because it's just been everything.
You wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't.
I wouldn't be anywhere near.
That's where the nurture comes in.
That's where the nurture comes in. My mother is my rock, and I think mothers really are the foundation for leaders and salesmen. And I think that's why I'm as confident as I am, because I had that nurture and love from my mother. My father was also in the picture. You know, we grew up together, but I think the love of a mother really shapes who a man or a woman will become.
What do you want to name this video?
I want to name this video Matt. If there isn't already a video named Matt.
You want to plug? Wait. How do you know someone's crazy?
How do I know somebody's crazy?
Yeah.
Like emotionally or just physically? I mean, if you're scratching your fucking skin off, I think you're a little nuts. But
Should it be a woman or a man?
definitely a man. It's definitely easier to be a man. I agree because you know what? Man, it's easier to be a man. I mean, we don't have to worry about like I can walk in an alley in the middle of the night. I can walk home at any point in the day, and I have no worries. I mean, I'm alert, but I don't have that same worry that some women may experience. So for that, you know, I think something needs to change, and we need to definitely take care of our women. So it all comes down to core values and what the woman's pushing, right? So I mean, as long as whatever she's pushing, whatever agenda she's pushing is, you know, beneficial to all of us together, I think it wouldn't matter whether if it was a man or a woman. I think it just really matters the agenda and the topic that they're trying to, and the message they're trying to deliver.
Do you want to plug any of your social media?
Yeah, sure. You can follow me on Instagram at MattXAbril. Abril, like the month in Spanish, ABRIL. But I'll give a shout out to my buddy Nick here. He's with me. He's done a video with you before. Aside from that, no, that's pretty much.